You hear that? Not the lake wind, not the L rumbling past something closer, like a low electrical hum coming from Hollis Hall. It's that feeling a city gets when the calendar still says September, but the conversations sound like January. Not how do we survive Detroit? Conversations. How do we tilt the entire NFC North in one swing? Conversations. Picture 3rd and 7 on a mean gray afternoon, breath in the air, stadium vibrating. And for once you don't pray for a miracle, you expect the matchup to bend your way. I'm not saying the name yet. Earn it. Ask yourself the only question that matters with a rookie quarterback. What single addition makes Caleb's job simpler every down? Not flashier, simpler. Simplicity under pressure is how you steal playoff games on the road. Here's my promise without tipping the surprise. We're going to peel back the schematic fit that cleans up the root tree and the run menu. The locker room calculus that adds juice without messing with the temperature. The cap math that makes a midseason swing feasible. And the timeline that actually matters as the early November window creeps closer. We'll walk the other side too. Opportunity cost, touches economy, risk to trenches depth. I'll put a stamp on a walkaway price at the end, no hedging. But first, family business, if you live and die with this team through the heart attacks and the Mondays after, you're in the right huddle. You're watching Bears News Fan Report. Hit subscribe, drop a like so this reaches more diehards, and in the comments tell me your max offer and who you'd send the other way. I'll pin the smartest cap clean package. All right, let's talk about the football marrow. The bones are there. A quarterback who extends, rips, and sees the second window. A WR1 who bends coverages by stepping off the line with bad intentions. A blue-chip rookie wideout who plays like the ball owes him money. Backs who run angry even when the box is heavy. A defense that flashes teeth when the scoreboard lets it hunt. The roller coaster has been the half-court offense of the NFL third down. Red zone. Late game too many possessions that die in the mud when defenses sit on glance and squat on speed outs. You don't fix that with a gadget. You fix it with inevitability. With a player who forces too high shells to widen by principle, who punishes top-down defenders with angle routes and option breaks, who turns checkdowns into explosives and calls off the blitz just by existing in the backfield. Look closely at the hints. More condensed splits to force leverage decisions. More motion to a stack before the snap to high releases. More duo and counter with built-in RPO tags to punish safeties who want to be heroes. More empty looks where the back flexes out and drags a linebacker somewhere he doesn't want to go. That's not random. That's an offense rehearsing a future where a true dual threat. Back is the hinge that swings the whole picture. Okay, enough foreplay. The name that keeps ricocheting around group chats and, yes, across certain phone lines, Alvin Kamara. Say it and feel your shoulders drop. Not because you're buying a 25-carry sledgehammer, because you're buying answers. Answers to blitz tempo. Answers to third and medium. Answers to 2-minute when the sideline is your friend and the middle is a trap. Kamara is the rare back who lives in the gray area defenses hate. Too quick for your base. Too sturdy for your nickel. Too slick for your green dog. He doesn't need the ball in his belly to matter. Sometimes he matters most by making the underneath space feel like a trapdoor. Now facts or speculation. This is speculation. Informed, scheme-driven, need-aligned speculation. No parade route, no dotted line. What's real is the profile the staff is clearly tilting toward, and the reality that calls happen every week in this league when fit, cost, and timing line up. The question isn't, did a secret handshake happen? It's, does the idea make football sense and at what price? Fit first. With Caleb, DJ Moore, and Romo Duns, defenses already have to pick which fire to put out. Kamara makes that decision lose-lose. In 11 personnel, you can live in duo inside zone, tag the glance, and let Caleb read the apex. If the nickel pinches, you spit the bubble and make him tackle in space. If the nickel widens, you hand it and let the double team climb. Now motion Kamara out to number 3, run Texas, angle, across a turn hip, and the linebacker becomes a speed bump. In empty, he aligns wide, forces a check, then zips back in on a short return route hot answer before the blitzer finishes his second step. Tack the red zone? Find run, toss crack with orbit motion, then tag a leak where he sells block and slips to the back pylon. The point isn't touches. It's stress. Every snap starts with the defense already at a disadvantage because the geometry is tilted. With Dandra, Swift already in the room, this is less bell cow and more bad choices. Swift keeps the inside run game honest and punishes light boxes. Kamara kills you horizontally and in the pass game. 2 back looks? Now you're cooking. Pony set with Swift at half and Kamara at wing. Orbit motion in the swing screen if they're in man, option release if it's zone, or a quick crack screen to roam when the safety chases the motion. Condense 12 personnel with Kamara flex. Jet orbit fake to hold the force player, then leak him opposite. It's not trickery. It's teaching the defense that there's no safe answer. Locker room calculus. This team's temperature is trending right. Rookies speaking accountability in the microphones. Vets setting Tuesday's standard. A quarterback whose competitive sickness is contagious. Kamara isn't a feed me 25 or I sulk personality. He's a professional problem solver who has lived in high-leverage football. You put that next to DJ Moore's work rate and Odunze's grown man approach, and it accelerates the culture. The touches economy is a real conversation, but it isn't zero-sum if the ball finds energy. Define roles on Wednesday, praise the sprint as loudly as the stat on Monday, and let the tape set the diet.cap and compensation. If the math lies, nothing else matters. Mid-season deals reward clarity and punish desperation. You're not buying a future statue. You're renting or extending a solution. The discipline lane looks like this, matching money that doesn't amputate defense. One real asset, a single premium pick or a true prospect equivalent, and a conditional sweetener tied to snaps or team success, not a blank check. Structure any extension with rolling guarantees that preserve flexibility in years 2 and 3. Avoid void years unless they materially shrink the year 1 hit. And do not trade yourself out of multiple drafts for a running back, especially with a rookie QB runway and trenches that always need feeding. Timeline. These calls get serious when 2 lights turn green. Your offense proves it's 1 piece away rather than 3, and the would-be seller stares at a future where flipping a veteran for picks makes more sense than white-knuckling a negotiation. The week before the early November deadline is where honesty lives. Prep the if-then language now so you're not negotiating with a stopwatch. If it stalls, pivot swiftly. Nothing poisons a room like smelling a move you couldn't finish. Let's make it tangible. 3rd and 5 at midfield. Defense spins late to Tampa 2. You're in 3-by-1 with Kamara at number 3 strong. He stems outside to widen the hook defender, plants, snaps across the faceball on the upfield shoulder. First down, drive lives. High red, they're heavy in the A-gaps, daring you to be cute. You go pistol, bluff split zone. Leak Kamara to the flat no 1 home easy 6. 2 minute. Same formation, same motion. Now he wheel routes that over-eager nickel. If they match with a safety, you just open the middle for roam on the glance. This is what's simpler for Caleb. Looks like not trick plays, predictable answers. Now the grown-up counter-arguments. Running back is a punishing position. Age and mileage are undefeated. Paying real capital for a veteran back invites volatility if the tread is thin. Pass protection is non-negotiable. If he can't anchor versus simulated pressures, the whole plan wobbles. And every dollar toward a playmaker is a dollar not aimed at edge, corner, or the OL pipeline. There's also the parallel tension we can't handwave. The secondary soft tissue scares and the pass rush variance that reappears when the scoreboard doesn't cooperate. If you spend your premium resource on offense, you better have a nickel pressure package and a healthy rotation. Up front ready to steal possessions the old-fashioned way. Contingencies because we're not children. Plan B, a budget satellite back who brings 70% of the passing down value at 30% of the cost, paired with a mid-tier interior mauler to keep the run game honest. Plan C. Skip the back and buy a slot nickel who blitzes like a demon and tackles and space steals 6 points. A week on defense and replicate the offensive bump with pace and sequencing. Neither plan is as clean as Kamara, but small edges stacked if you're intentional with matchups and minute stock. So is this real? It's real in the way the best rumors are real. The fit is loud, the need is obvious. The calendar is approaching honesty, and it would change the way Sundays feel. That's enough to talk about it without selling you fireworks. We don't own .my stamp. No hedging. If the price lives under a first plus a heavy sweetener, think one premium, asset and matching money that doesn't gut the defense, you do it. Yesterday. Because 8 possessions a game become easier. Because Caleb's answers get faster. Because DJ and Rome feel bigger without touching the ball. And because your 2-minute offense finally has a pressure valve that travels. If instead, the ass balloons into multiple premium picks or demands you towards defensive depth you can't replace, you hold your ground and pivot. Be bold, not reckless. One more thing, imagine the first practice after it happens. The way the linebackers start buzzing 5 inches closer to the line when Kamara motions. How that 5 inches becomes a window for the glance. How that window becomes a 26-yard chunk that buys your pass rush a lead. Picture a cold night at Soldier with the wind off the lake, third quarter tightening, and the check down that used to die at 4 yards turns into 17 because a safety took a bad angle and found out why this city loves backs who make the first man miss. That's not a highlight. That's control. My opinion, as a fan who's been here for the heartache and the hope, I'm in at a disciplined price. Kamara in Chicago isn't about jerseys. It's about sanity on third down, clarity in the red zone, and a young quarterback breathing easier on the road in January. If the math and the cost stay sane, pull it. If not, carry your powder into winter and stack ages the old school way. Either way, indecision isn't a plan. Bear down and tell me your walkaway line below. Let's build the smartest version of this together.